It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccer Files Canada. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Haiti. Part 1, the candidates. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccer Files Canada. I'm Kevin and this is Series 30 on the players of the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. This episode covers Haiti's players. Just a note on where we are at in our mediacast. Series 21 to 27 deals with the World Cup 2026 qualifying. Series 21, for example, is covering the Asian region, and we actually did preview the preliminary round there. We were hoping to do more previewing for World Cup 2026 qualification, but life got busy for us. We nevertheless still have hopes of covering it, but now we'll have to do it mostly through reviews. So the past, present, and future mediacast that we produced way back in the spring of 2024 is still relevant in that it outlines the World Cup 2026 qualifying procedure in each region, pretty complex in some of the regions. So we're going to add a link to that mediacast in the show notes. And we will come back to World Cup 2026 qualifying, but we're going to do that after our current focus, which is the 2025 Gold Cup here, and this episode on Haiti's players. So we're doing this mediacast in two parts. Part 1 here is a look at the candidates for the squad and their likelihood of making it. We examine the participation of players in games over the recent period, as well as a couple of other factors, and categorize players into definite, likely, possible but unlikely, and seemingly off the squad. And we will go into more detail on the players that we think likely to reach the squad, and less, perhaps even just giving the names of players unlikely to get there. Part 2 will come out when the squad lists are released and the final squad selected. That'll be right around the corner here in early June. And at that time, we'll go back over the list that we create here and see who made it and who didn't. And we'll also cover things like injuries, surprise selections, and our predicted starters. So this episode has 3 sections. Section 1, where we look at some general information on the team. Section 2, where we cover the main candidates in each position. And Section 3, where we summarize and conclude, especially focusing on injuries or unavailable players to keep an eye on. Let's begin then. And we start with some bigger names on the squad that seem to be off the squad. And the first is Jerome Michak. He's a central defender and still playing at the club level, actually unattached to a team since December 2024. So he might be retiring, but he is 35 years old. So still might have a couple of years left in him. He's been with the Haitian team since 2008 with 80 caps and 4 goals for Haiti. And part of his tournament history began in 2009 Gold Cup when he was on the preliminary roster. Didn't make that tournament, but has made most of their tournaments since the 2013 Gold Cup. So he last appeared for the team in October 2023, and not definitely off the squad, but seems to be off the squad. The next one is left back Alex Christian, and he has 52 caps for Haiti since 2015, still playing at the club level. And his first tournament for them was the Copa America Centenario in 2016. He's played all of the last 3 Gold Cups for them, a starter in the 2023 Gold Cup. But shortly after that, he played his last game for the national team in October of 2023. And finally, we have Wild Donald Gurrier. He is hard to pin down into a position, so we just called him a kind of a versatile player. He appeared all over the field. 61 caps for the national team and 11 goals since 2010. Gurrier is 36 years old now, and I think I forgot to mention Alex Christian's age. He's not that old, just 32, Alex Christian. But while Donald Guerrier, 36 years old, and has a long history with the team since the 2013 Gold Cup. That was his first tournament. Didn't play in the 2021 Gold Cup, but returned for the 2023 edition, and that was his last appearance for the squad. So, yes, those players, it's not out of the question that they'll return, but they are getting up there in age and are not been on the squad recently. All right, let's move on to our next order of business. We're going to look at the games that Haiti has played over the recent period. Not as many as most teams, actually. We're going to start with the 2023 Gold Cup there. They didn't pass the group stage there in June of 2023, so just 3 games there. Shortly after was the 2023-24 Nations League, so in the fall of 2023, 4 games in the group stage there. Those were in September and October. And not much there after that. We have a friendly in March of 2024, and actually we don't really have good information on that friendly. So sometimes we'll be ignoring this game because we don't have reliable information. All through this time, ever since the 2023 Gold Cup, or just before that, they were actually under an interim manager. It's a long time for an interim manager to go, and they actually didn't do that well. Around this time, after March, in late March of 2024, their new manager came in, and we'll be discussing that situation and those characters right at the beginning of section 2. So the first games for the new manager were in June of 2024. Those were 2 World Cup qualifying games as CONCACAF began its World Cup qualification. And in the fall of that year of 2024, the Nations League again, so group stage games, 6 of them here. So that was from September to November 2024. League B had 6 games there. And again, they didn't progress to the quarterfinals or have any business to attend to. So in March of 2025, they just played another friendly, just like in March of 2024. We do have better information for that one. So those are the games that we'll be considering in this media cast. And next, let's take a quick look at formations. We won't go through all of the formations individually, but we will say that the most common formation that they used was a 4-4-2 formation, and they used that in 56% of the games. Actually, it's the new manager who likes that formation. Almost all of his games were a 4-4-2. They also used a 4-2-3-1 in 5 of their games, or 31% of the games. That was the formation used in the Gold Cup, and then in a couple of games beyond that. The last game in March 2025 actually was the only time the manager didn't use a 4-2-3-1 formation, and then in 2 games a 4-3-3 formation. So that's 12.5% of the time. So yes, more than half the time using that 4-4-2 formation. And so just a couple of comments on analysis there. Regardless of the formation, actually, it's always 2 central defenders with a left back and a right back. So no 3-man backline for Haiti during this period. Also, we can say that they used a 2-man forward line a little more than half of the time. So we'll be looking at 2 forwards when we get to that position. Okay, that is it for the formations, but we will mention it as we go through section 2. The last thing to talk about here is their upcoming games. Well, we noted that they started their World Cup qualifying in June of 2024 with 2 games. The next 2 games are right before the Gold Cup here in June of 2025. And they start by playing Aruba away. That should be an easy game for them. But the last game on June 10th, the last game of this stage, is against Curacao. Those two are battling for top spot, but it doesn't really matter because both of the top two teams will advance anyway. But those will act as warm-up games for the Gold Cup, which is our focus here. And that is it for Section 1. Let's move on to Section 2, where we look at the candidates and their likelihood of making the squad. So we're not particularly interested in predicting starters at this point. That'll be more of our focus in Section 2. So let's begin with the managers here. I'm at the wrong place in my graphics. I have to get to the right place before I can continue. Okay, here I am. So the current manager, the one who came in halfway through the period, is Sebastien Mignet, and we'll give a little biographical information on him. The interim manager that we mentioned in Section 1 is Gabriel Calderon, but I think he's being called Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino so as not to mix him up with his father. His father was the pretty famous Argentina player, Gabriel Calderon, who played in the 1982 and 1990 World Cups. Unfortunately, he wasn't on the 1986 squad that actually won the Cup, but they were runners-up in 1990. Anyway, Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino, his son here. And we'll also mention Jean-Jacques Pierre. And we won't go into biographical detail on him, but he was a manager basically at the before the period began, so he'll be kind of our starting point. We'll look at a bit of biographical information on Sebastien Mignet. He did play professionally, but was never capped for the national team. He's French, so never capped for France. However, he has been manager of several international teams, beginning with Congo in 2017 and then Kenya in 2018 and 19. The only team he actually went to a tournament with was Kenya, playing in the African Cup there. A short period with them, and he went on to Equatorial Guinea in 2019 and 2020, and he managed a team in South Africa, was the assistant coach of Cameroon, and now since 2024 has become the manager of Haiti. So if he survives for just a couple of weeks here, he'll also have a second tournament under his belt. That's Sebastien Mignet. Let's basically summarize the position. We're going to do this in part 2 for most of the positions, but I think for the manager, to get a kind of a grip on the team over the recent period, it'll be good to do that here. So Jean-Jacques Pierre is actually a veteran Haitian player who turned into a manager. He was let go in April of 2023, so not long before the 2023 Gold Cup there, and he was replaced with interim manager Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino. Pellegrino managed them through a group stage exit in the Gold Cup, but he stayed on as manager, and he also led them through the 2023-24 CONCACAF Nations League games, where they finished 5th of 6th in League A group and were relegated to League B. So despite these poor results and being an interim manager, he nevertheless remained until May of 2024, and then Sebastien Mignet was hired. Haiti won both of their fairly easy June 2024 World Cup qualifying games, but a bit more impressively won all 6 of their Nations League B games, earning them a promotion back to League A. In truth, those 2 were fairly easy games, but basically the manager has won all the games since he was instated. So other than those competitions, they have played no games other than those friendlies, one in March of 2024, one in March of 2025. So the real test will come for Mignet in the Gold Cup when he faces tougher competition. But Haiti going in looking good. a string of wins under their belt at this point. That's the managerial situation. Let's move on to goalkeepers. And we'll begin just by naming the candidates here, and then we'll come back, look at the biographies of the more likely candidate. So we have a definite candidate in Alexander Pierre, a likely candidate in Garrison Innocent, and also a likely candidate in veteran Johnny Placide. We have a possible candidate in Luis Valendi Odelas. I think he's usually called Valendi Odelas there. He's at the possible level. If my graphics will just behave for me here. And we have one player seemingly off the squad, Josue Duverger. So these players at the possible but unlikely level or below, we'll just kind of quickly gloss over. Duverger was born in Canada. I just have to mention that because we're coming to you from Canada. He only has 6 caps for the national team since 2000. Since 2017. But sorry, I said I wouldn't go into detail. So I'll just say he was on the roster for the last 3 Gold Cups. As a substitute goalkeeper, but the last Gold Cup in 2023 was his last appearance for the national team. So still playing at the club level, but off the national team, it seems, Josue Duverger, and maybe we'll give more details if he is actually selected for the final squad. And so we'll see in part 2. Let's go back to the definite candidate, Alexander Pierre, and he is 25 years old with 12 caps for Haiti since 2022. And like many of the Haitian players, he was born in France and plays for clubs in France. He plays for Sochaux in France since 2024, and he was the starting keeper in the 2023 Gold Cup. So Alexander Pierre started 3 of their 14 games over the period since the 2023 Gold Cup, and he was also subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 8 and not selected for 2 others. So again, we're not necessarily speaking to likelihood of being a starter here, but likelihood of being called up. We think he's a definite candidate. At the likely level, we have, I should actually put Johnny Placide first because he is a bigger name and has started more during the period. So I'm just going to move that and deal with him. Johnny Placide is getting up there in age now, 37 years old. He has 71 caps for Haiti since 2011. And well, he was captain of the team. I tried to check. I got a bit of contradictory evidence. It may be now that Ade is captain of the team, but we'll see. Johnny Placide plays for Bastia in France since 2021, and he has played in other countries, Bulgaria, Oldham in England, his trips abroad there. His first tournament was the 2015 Gold Cup. He was actually on the preliminary squad for the 2013 edition, but didn't make the cut. However, in 2015, he was the starting keeper, and for the 2016 Copa America Centenario, he was the captain of the team by that point. But his last tournament was the 2019 Gold Cup. He did not play in the 2021 Gold Cup. He said he wanted to focus on club play. And honestly, by the time of the 2023 Gold Cup, he seemed to be off the team. He was named to the preliminary squad, but didn't make the final cut. I thought he was kind of off the team. However, he came back and started 10 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, and was on the bench for 1 and not selected for 2 others. That includes the last match, but the last match was a friendly. He didn't play in the friendly. So Johnny Placide kind of very much back in the picture here. We have him as a likely candidate, though, here. And the second likely candidate is Garrison Innocent, and he is 25 years old with 2 caps for Haiti since 2023, and he's currently playing in Lithuania since 2025. He had been with Eupen in Belgium before that, but he was on the squad of Paris Saint-Germain from 2019 to 2022. So a pretty good look on his resume there. He didn't play any games for Paris Saint-Germain. He was loaned out to other clubs, but he was with their youth club as well. So Garrison Innocent, born in France, I should make clear. His first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup, where he was a backup keeper. So didn't see any action. And over the recent period, Innocent has started just one of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, but he was on the bench for 8. So 5 matches that he wasn't selected for. So we consider him a likely candidate. Finally, we have possible candidate Valendi Odalis, and he is 31 years old. He doesn't have any caps for Haiti, but he was on the squad for the 2016 Copa America Centenario. He didn't see any action in that tournament, so even to this day has no caps. He was on the preliminary squad for the 2019 Gold Cup too, but recently he returned after an almost 7.5-year absence. He came back just for the last game in March 2025 and appeared on the bench there. So maybe being considered by the squad. It's pretty unlikely because that was just a friendly game, but I guess he's kind of a backup to the 3 keepers above. All right, so as I said, in part 2 we will summarize the position, like who has been in and out over the last period, but we're not doing that here. We're just looking at the candidates. So we're going to move on to defense here, and we begin with central defenders. And I'll just remind you about what we said about the position in section 1. It is always for Haiti in this period a 2-man central back line. So that makes things a bit easier for us there. Okay, the player I mentioned as possibly the current captain of the team is our first name, and he is a definite candidate, Ricardo Ade. And then we go down to the likely level where we have Jean-Kevin Duvernay, and we also have Francois Dulis there. You'll see that Duvernay's name is in light gray compared to the others whose names are in black text. That means that Duvernay has not been involved in a competition or in a tournament. Next, we have at the possible level, Garvin Metusala, and then the player we mentioned in section 1, kind of a veteran, probably retiring or heading towards it, seemingly off the squad, Michak Jerome. So we won't repeat all the biographical information we said there. We'll just repeat that he was last appeared for the national team in October of 2023. And we have another player seemingly off the squad, that is Stephen Seance. And Stephen Seance was on the roster for the 2023 Gold Cup. Didn't see any action there, but he last appeared for the team in March of 2024. So we'll come back to him in part 2 if he is selected, but let's look at the players that we think are much more likely. Beginning with Ricardo Ade, our definite candidate. So he's 35 years old and has 46 caps and 2 goals for Haiti since 2013, and he plays for LDU Quito in Ecuador since 2023. He's actually played in Ecuador for a little while and with a couple of teams in Chile as well. Ricardo Ade's first cup was the 2013 Gold Cup there, and then his second was the 2019 Gold Cup, so perhaps he was off the team for a period there. But ever since the 2019 Gold Cup, he has been called up to tournaments. He actually had a visa issue in the 2019 Gold Cup there, but he started and finished all games in the following 2 cups. And over the recent period, Ricardo Ade has started 12 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, and just 2 matches that he wasn't selected for. Those might have been the 2 friendlies. Ricardo Ade then is a definite candidate for us. Next we have Jean-Kevin Duvernay, and he is 28 years old, and but just with the national team since 2024, with 6 caps and 1 goal for the team. I don't have a note here that he was born in France, but I suspect he is a French player who kind of a bit later in his career threw his lot in with Haiti. He does play in France. He plays for Nantes in France since 2023, but is currently on loan to Kortrijk in Belgium. Otherwise, he's played for all French clubs, including youth clubs. So he's been in France at least since 11 years old. Jean-Kevin Duvernay got his first cap in March of 2024, started 6 of the remaining 10 games. He was injured for 2 of them, so just 2 matches that he was not selected for. So we consider Jean-Kevin Duvernay a likely candidate. Also likely is Francois Dulis, and he's 26 years old with 13 caps for the national team since 2021, and he plays for a team in Albania since 2024, having moved from the USA, where he played for several clubs there, as well as a university team. So actually, Dulis, I do have a note here that he was born in the USA, so many of the Haiti players, but I would say about half of them born outside of Haiti. Dulis got his first tournament in the 2021 Gold Cup. He was just a substitute there, and actually got a red card in the only game he was subbed into. Sorry about this. I got to address something in my notes. Okay, Dulis was not, though, selected for the 2023 Gold Cup. Bit of a surprise there. He was selected for the 36-man preliminary squad, but didn't make the final cut. I think he had been a likely candidate last time around. He's a likely candidate here. He's not much of a starter. He only started 2 of the 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, but he was subbed in for 3 and on the bench for 8. So just 1 match that Francois Dulis was not selected for, and we have him as a likely candidate for those reasons. And finally, we have a possible candidate in Garvin Metusala, and Metusala is 26 years old with 12 caps for the national team since 2022, and he was born in Canada. He plays for Colorado Springs Switchback in the USA since 2025, but actually played in Canada for Forge FC from 2021 to 25. And most of his clubs, in fact, all of the clubs before that, have been in Canada, including the Montreal Impact Youth Club there. He was selected for the 2023 Gold Cup, and he started all 3 games there. And he has since started 6 of their 14 games and was on the bench for 2. Not selected for 6 matches, though, including the last 3 matches. So that bumped Metusala down a notch for us too. Whenever players aren't selected in the kind of games before the Cup, we become uncertain as to their likelihood. So possible candidate, Garvin Metusala. And yeah, only 4 central defenders there. That's not many. Perhaps that's why they always use just 2 in their defense system. But there are no out of position players coming in. These guys kind of cover it all. And we'll talk about the position in part 2. But those are your candidates. Let's move on to look at the candidates for left back. And again, the left and right back positions can be pushed up sometimes when there's a 3-man defense, but that's not the case for Haiti. It's always just a plain left back and right back. In terms of candidates, we begin with Duke Lacroix. Duke is not his real name, actually. It's Marcus Lacroix, but all of the sources that I use Duke Lacroix. So kind of has become his real name. He's a definite candidate. And then we have Martin Experience as a likely candidate. And then off the squad, the player we talked about in section one, kind of veteran Alex Christensen. I consider veteran 60 caps. He only has 52, but certainly in terms of tournaments, he's a veteran. We won't go into detail on that career biography, though. We'll just say that he last appeared for the team in October of 2023, Alex Christian, so seems to be off the squad. Let's go back and look at the two candidates we have. The first is Duke Lacroix, as you can see by the light grey text on his name. If you're watching the YouTube, he does not have any tournament experience. He, despite being 32 years old, he got his first cap for Haiti in 2023. But since that time, has 7 caps and 3 goals, which is pretty good for a defensive player. He also plays for Colorado Switchbacks in the USA. He's done so since 2023, and all of his teams have been in the USA because he was born. He was born there. So new to the squad. Actually was named to the preliminary squad for the 2023 Gold Cup, despite never having been called up for them. Didn't make the cut there, but now seems, well, he got a single cap right before the tournament in June of 2023. He was then off the team and actually returned after a year-long absence in June of 2024. And he started 5 of their remaining 9 games. But he was subbed in for 1 on the bench for the 3 others. So ever since he was recalled to the team, he's been called up consistently. And yeah, maybe a bit generous to have him as a definite candidate, but we do think he will be selected for the squad. The likely candidate is Martin Experience, and he is 26 years old with 10 caps for Haiti since 2021. And he's born in France and plays for Nancy in France. That's our second player for Nancy there. And I know it's not pronounced Nancy, it's Nancy, but I'm trying to kind of balance an English and French accent when I say this. Anyway, Martin Experience, all of his clubs have been in France, except for a youth club where he played for a youth club in Spain. Experience was selected for the 2021 Gold Cup. In fact, was a starter in the first 2 games there. And however, not for the 2023 Gold Cup, just on the preliminary squad there. And during this period, he returned after a year-long absence in March of 2024. And just like Lacroix, he started 5 of their remaining 10 games and was on the bench for 3. But in his case, there were 2 matches that he was not selected for. So we're going to actually see in part 2 that these 2 seem to alternate in the position. Those, anyway, are the 2 candidates, and I'm guessing that both of them will be chosen because of a lack of other candidates there. All right, that's left backs, and we move over to right backs, where we have a definite candidate in Carlens Arcas, and we have a possible candidate in Stéphane Lambise, and another possible candidate in newcomer Wilkins Powgain. Okay, let's we do have one player who is seemingly off the squad, and that is Jeppe Simonsen. Jeppe Simonsen coded as a right back, but actually I saw him playing as a right attacker in this period. Nevertheless, the Danish-born player last appeared for the national team in October of 2023. So despite being on the squad for the 2023 Gold Cup, he seems to be off the squad now. So let's go back and look at the likely candidate, Carlens Arcas. He's 29 years old with 44 caps and 1 goal for Haiti since 2016. And in his case, I think he was born in Haiti because he played for youth clubs in Haiti. I don't actually have a note saying that. But anyway, like many of the Haiti players, he does move over to France. He has, and he currently plays for Angers in France since 2024. Most of his clubs have been in France, but he has had stints in the Netherlands and in Belgium. Carlin's Arca's first cup was the 2029 Gold Cup, and he's participated in every cup since, always as a starter. And recently he started 9 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, on the bench for 1, suspended for 1, and not selected for 3 matches over the period. But in the case of Carlin's Arcas, we're kind of overlooking those 3 non-selections. And we think he'll be a definite candidate, really, because of his history of starting in tournaments with Haiti. Okay, the next candidate is at the portable level. It's Stéphane Lambis. He's 30 years old and has been with Haiti since 2014 with 23 caps and 1 goal. He's actually unattached to a club right now since January of 2025. And a couple of years ago, he was unattached for a whole year. In between those 2 periods, he played for Lokomotiv Sofia in Bulgaria for 2 years. And then before that, mostly for clubs in France. In fact, he too was with Paris Saint-Germain in France, and their youth club came up through their youth club. So Stéphane Lambis has been around for quite a while, 2014, as we said, but he wasn't selected for the 2015 or the 2019 Gold Cups. He appeared in the Copa America Centenario in 2016 and was a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup, but not for the 2023 Gold Cup. In fact, he seemed to be off the team by that point. But recently he returned after a more than 2-year absence in October of 2023, and he started 2 of their 12 games, subbed in for 4 and was on the bench for 3, and not selected for 3 others, including the last match. But he does seem to be the backup to Arcas right now. So I would honestly put him somewhere between possible and likely, Stéphane Lambis. But we do have another possible candidate who actually could take on that role. It's Wilkins Paugain. So Wilkins Paugain got his first cap in 2025, just in March of this year, and he's 24 years old. And he is also a French-born player, but he plays for Zulte Waregem in Belgium since 2025, actually currently on loan to a club in Austria. So that's a pretty short biography for him, because he just came in March of 2025. So basically, these 2 possible candidates are battling for the backup position behind Carlin's Arcas. But that's stepping on the toes of the position summary, which we're saving for part 2. So let's move on. And actually, we're finished with the defense. So we move on to midfielders, and we begin. We are looking at the kind of defensive end of the midfield, but we're going to begin with versatile midfielders at the defensive end there, because we have one player in this category who kind of, well, I was going to say appears all over the field, but we actually named him as both of these players as versatile midfielders last time around. But they seem to be off the squad now, so let's dispense with them quickly. The first one we introduced in section 1, it's Wild Donald Gourier, or sometimes just called Donald Gourier, seems to be off the squad. Has been part of tournaments for a long time, but since I talked about that in section 1, I'll just repeat that he last appeared in the 2023 Gold Cup. And the other one is Stephen Saba, who I didn't introduce in part one. Stephen Saba is 32 years old and has been part of several tournaments, but last appeared also in the 2023 Gold Cup. So we won't go into detail on their career biographies, but we'll wave goodbye, at least for the time being, for these players. There is a chance that they can come back, although while Donald Gurrier is 36 years old, so probably not. Okay, let's move on to the actual defensive midfield position there, and we begin with likely candidate Leverton Pierre. He is at the likely level, and we also have Carl Sainte at the likely level. At the possible level, we have Brian Alcius, and then seemingly off the squad, but is right back Jimmy Alexis. But we're putting him here because his three starts during the period were all as a defensive midfielder. In fact, he was the brought in as the third midfielder in the two games where they used a 4-3-3 formation. So we'll deal with him here. We won't deal with him much though, because he seems to be off the squad. Those appearances were early in the period, and he last appeared for the national team in October of 2023. So Jimmy Alexis, seemingly off the squad there. So we'll go back and look at the more likely candidates here. Leverton Pierre is 27 years old, and he has 22 caps and 1 goal for Haiti since 2021. He was born in Haiti, but he plays, only his youth club was in Haiti. He plays in France. He's with Châteauroux in France since 2024, and with Avranches in France before that, and Dunkirk and Mech. So a pretty good resume for him. With the national team, though, he wasn't selected for the 2019 Gold Cup, just on the preliminary squad there. But Leverton Pierre started all 3 games in the 2021 Gold Cup. He was also called up in 2023, but he only appeared briefly as a substitute in one of the games there. And Pierre Leverton was off the team for a spell after that, came back after an 11-month absence in June of 2024, and went on to start 6 of their remaining 9 games, and was on the bench for 1 and not selected for 2 matches. So he kind of stormed back into the picture, Leverton Pierre, and we have him as a likely candidate. Carl Sainte is 23 years old. And has been with Haiti since 2022, and has 20 caps, pretty impressive for his age, for the national team. And he plays for FC Dallas in the USA. He was born in Haiti, though, played for youth clubs in Haiti, as well as Violet. That was his first club, and then he kind of moved over to the United States. So Carl Sainte was selected for the Gold Cup in 2023, started all 3 games there. All in all, started 5 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, subbed in for 4 and on the bench for 2, and not selected for 3 matches. So in part 2, when we do the kind of the position review, you'll see he kind of drifted off the squad after the Gold Cup. Not drifted off the squad. He didn't. He drifted out of the starting position. Okay, the next is Brian Alcius. And I should actually say, because I should have talked about the position right at the beginning here, I want you to envision this midfield as a 2-man midfield. So 87% of the time, it's either a 4-2-3-1, so 2 defensive midfielders, or a 4-4-2, 2 central midfielders. And in Haiti's case, it is defensive or central midfielders in the 4-4-2 formation. We don't see attacking midfielders in the middle there. So So Carl Sainty kind of held down one of those two positions in the Gold Cup and shortly after, but drifted out of the starting position. Okay, the next candidate, Brian Alceus, is at the possible level. He's 29 years old with 40 caps for Haiti since 2016. And as we'll see with a few of the Haitian players, real world travelers, they have a very many stamps in their passport. He's currently with Pyongyang in Armenia, but he's played in Cyprus, Romania, Greece, and of course in France, as many Haitian players do. He was born in France. Brian Alcius. His first tournament was the 2019 Gold Cup. He was a starter in that tournament and in the two that followed. But in the 2023 Gold Cup, he actually lost his starting position after game one. And really hasn't regained it because over the period, he has started just one of their 14 games. Since the 2023 Gold Cup, he was subbed in for 3 and on the bench for 2 and not selected for 8 games there. So Brian Alcius just a possible candidate here. We'll move on to central midfielders. Often it's difficult to distinguish between the two, in truth. We begin with Christopher Attis, and actually one of his starts was as a central attacking midfielder, but he's coded as a central midfielder, and most of his games are here. He's a definite candidate. And the other one, who probably actually starts a bit more, is Danley Jean-Jacques. I might switch positions after we take a look at these players. Those are the only ones here, so we can jump right into a bit of biographical information. And Christopher Attis is 24 years old, and he's been with Haiti since 2024. But in that time, he's amassed 8 caps and 3 goals. So does seem to be a bit more of an attacker, judging by those goals. He currently plays for Triestina in Italy since 2024 and is on loan to Lecce in Italy since 2025. He was born in France, but played for a youth club in France, but pretty quickly moved to Inter Milan. I think that's Inter Milan's youth club at first, and then was on the Inter Milan squad. Didn't actually play any games for Inter Milan, but it's a good club to have on your resume. And however, he did quickly move to much smaller clubs, Christopher Attis, and hasn't played in any tournaments. But he did score 3 goals in qualifying, and he got his first cap in June of 2024 and went on to start 4 of their remaining 9 games. But he was subbed in for 4 and on the bench for 1 other. So always called up Christopher Attis, and we think he's a definite candidate. The other definite candidate is Danley Jean-Jacques. He's 25 years old and has 18 caps and 4 goals for Haiti since 2023. He plays for Metz in France since 2022, but he is Haitian-born, and he actually spent 6 years with Don Bosco in Haiti and their youth club. That's one of Haiti's bigger teams there. He I don't know why I said also there. He got his first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup, where he subbed into game 1 and then gained a starting position for the next 2 games. And he's since started 11 of their 14 games. So coming in strong as a starter, Danley Jean-Jacques. In addition to the 11 starts, he subbed in once, and then 2 matches was not selected for. So I think we will put him ahead of Christopher Attis there, because he seems more of a definite candidate. Okay, that is it for defensive and central midfielders. Actually, a fairly short roster, all things considered. Most teams have more candidates than that to deal with, but there we go. We'll talk about the position in part 2. But here we'll move on to left and right midfielders. We did see that Haiti uses a 4-3-3 formation, or at least used it in 2 games during this period. But the truth is that it was defensive and central midfielders who filled those positions. And we also saw that the right back, Jimmy Alexis, was actually the third player brought into the midfield there. So we don't really have anything specific to talk about with these positions. We do, though, have 2 players coded as left midfielders. The first is Danny Jean, but we moved him to forward because that's where he started, and Derek Etienne, because he started as central attacking midfielder in most of his games. I think he was a left attacker once, but these guys were not part of the 4-3-3 formation. And nor were the other players that we'll introduce on the right side. We have Michel Tio as a possible candidate here. He's coded as a right midfielder, but actually maybe too new to really know what his position really was. In fact, one of the sources had him appearing as a substitute in the March 2025 game, and another source didn't have him on the roster, so it's a bit up in the air, but we thought we'll at least introduce his name, and we have to put him at the possible level, especially if he did appear in the most recent game. So Tio Michel is his name. What am I talking about? Tio Michel is 21 years old, very young, born in France, plays for a small club in France, and seems to have been used as a substitute in March of 2025. That's as much as we'll say, and maybe focus on him a bit more if he's selected for the squad. And we do have a player seemingly off the squad here. That's Fredler Christoph. Fredler Christoph was on the preliminary squad for the for the 2019 and 2023 Gold Cups, but wasn't selected for either, and last appeared in March of 2023. So doesn't seem to have much of a chance here. Okay, that's the left and right midfielders, and we're going to move on to the attacking end of the field, and we'll begin with attacking midfielders. And here too, we're going to begin with versatile players. We'll look at a couple of versatile attackers who have kind of appeared in various positions up front. And the first is definite candidate Duckens Nazon. And we also have Mikel Cantave. He doesn't actually start that much, but when he has started, he started in really all 3 positions in the midfield, right, left, and centre. Ironically, he didn't play as a forward, even though that's what he's coded as. And so is Duckens Nazon. Let's take a look at these 2 players, beginning with Nazon. And I'll say in the first part of the period, he was pretty versatile, playing as a left attacker and also as a central attacking midfielder. In the second part of the period, though, he played solely as a forward. Duckens Nazon is 31 years old and has 67 caps and a very impressive 39 goals for Haiti since 2014. And he's played all over the world with Kayserispor in Turkey and CSKA Sofia in Bulgaria, and Wolverhampton in England as well. So I should have said, well, all over the world, I said. He also played in India. So there we go. I'm proven right. Duckens Nazon's first tournament was the 2015 Gold Cup. He subbed into that in Game 2 and gained the starting position. And he's been the starter in all of their tournaments since. The only one he missed, no, he didn't miss any tournaments. He's been part of every tournament they've participated in up until the 2023 World Cup. And even after that, he started 10 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup. And he was subbed in for 2 and not selected for 2 matches. Those were actually the first 2 right after the Cup there. So basically, he's always selected, Duckens Nazon, and we have him as a definite candidate, even if we're not dead sure where he'll show up on the field. Next is Mikhail Cantave. He's born in Canada and has played for quite a few clubs in Canada. We'll come back to that, though. First, we'll say he's 29 years old with 20 caps and 4 goals for Haiti since 2018. And so actually recently he's come back to Canada to play for Vancouver FC. Since 2023. That's not the Whitecaps, that's a smaller club in Vancouver. And he played for Cavalry FC, closer to where I am here in Canada, before that. But prior to coming back to Canada, he played for clubs in Romania and quite a few clubs in Spain, actually, and moved over to Europe at a young well, no, I'm thinking he was born in Haiti, but he wasn't. Yes, moved over to Europe in 2012, so it was at a young age there. Cantave was selected for the 2019 Gold Cup. He was a substitute in that tournament, but not selected for either of the 2 tournaments since. He was on the preliminary squad for the 2021 Gold Cup. He actually seemed to be off the squad for the 2023 Gold Cup, but he did return after a more than 2-year absence in October of 2023 and started one of their remaining 12 games. I thought he started a bit more than that. Anyway, I'll go with what I got. One of their remaining 12 games, subbed in for 5 and was on the bench for 2, and not selected for 2 others, including the last match. Okay, so Mikhail Cantave, a likely candidate for selection because he is often called up. Okay, that's it for versatile attackers. So, well, at least Duncan's name will come up in various positions there. Let's move on to the left attackers, and I'll just talk a little bit about the position. It's kind of our own creation here at Soccer Files. Basically, the the left and right attacking position is dependent on the formation. So in a 4-4-2 formation, and Haiti used all of these 3 formations actually. In a 4-4-2 formation, it's a winger, an attacking winger. And in a 4-2-3-1 formation, it's an attacking midfielder. In a 4-3-3 formation, it's a left or a right forward. So as I said, Haiti has used all of those. We won't really kind of specify which is which. The reason we created this category is because it's often the same player, regardless of the formation. So at left attack here, we have kind of removed Fafa Picault, Fabrice Picault, but he's usually called Fafa Picault. He's coded as a right winger. We may change that actually because he tends to play for the left, at least for Haiti. And he is a definite candidate. I'm getting ahead of myself because I was going to go into his biography. Anyway, a definite candidate. We'll list the candidates first. But actually, we only have one more, and he's at the seemingly off the squad level, and that's Gyro Jean. Gyro Jean last appeared for the squad in September of 2023, so we won't go into more detail unless he comes back, unless he makes the final squad, where we'll talk about him in part 2 then. Okay, let us look at Fafa Picault. He was born in the USA, in fact played 2 games for the USA from 2016 to 2018, and it seemed like basically he wasn't going to make it with the US national team, so he joined Haiti in 2023 and has 14 caps and 1 goal. He's currently 34 years old. He's with Inter Miami in the USA since 2025, and that's significant, but that probably means he will be playing in the Club World Cup because Inter Miami is hosting that and he's involved. So we're pretty sure that will take priority over the international tournament, as self-contradictory as that is for FIFA to do. But there we have it. So let's not go into too much detail on him. We'll say that he actually was basically asked to I'm not sure if that's the USA or the American team for the 2015 Gold Cup. So I won't go into detail. Anyway, for Haiti, he was um, his first tournament was the 2023 Gold Cup, and he was a starter in that tournament. And he started 10 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup, subbed in for one and not selected for three, including the last friendly. So starting 10 of their 14 games, he'll obviously be a big loss if he is not, if he's playing in the Club World Cup instead of this tournament. A big loss for Haiti there. And he's the only one we have. We do have out of position players coming in for some games, as you'll see in part two when we do a summary of the position. But yeah, they're going to have to find someone else over here. We didn't put anyone else here because no one else has really played it enough for us to move them from their coded position over to here. So that's all we have for left attackers. Let's look at right attackers. And here we have a definite candidate in Lucius Don Deedson. Lucius Don Deedson, and same as on the left, one definite and then one seemingly off the squad. The player seemingly off the squad is Carnegie Antoine. Carnegie Antoine, and has two tournaments under his belt for Haiti, including selection for the 2023 Gold Cup. However, we last appeared for the national team in September 2023, so shortly after the Gold Cup there, and seems to be off the squad then. Let's go back and look at the definite candidate, Lucius Don Deedson. He's coded as a forward, but we moved him over here because this is where he's been playing. And Deedson is 24 years old, and he has 17 caps and 6 goals for Haiti since 2021. And he plays for Odense in Denmark since 2023 and was with a smaller club in Denmark prior to that. He was not selected for the 2023 Gold Cup there. He was on the preliminary squad but didn't make the final cut. And actually returned after a more than 2-year absence in September 2024 and started 10 of their remaining games to May 2025. Well, to the present, I'll say. And he subbed in for 3 and was on the bench for 1. So ever since his return, he's been consistently selected. So Lucius Don Deedson, a definite candidate, and again we'll talk about the position. He kind of came into it in the second half of the period here, but now seems ensconced in the position. Okay, we move on to central attackers, and we'll just say about the position first here. The central attacking midfield position is only used in the 4-2-3-1 formation. It could potentially be used in a 4-4-2 formation, but Haiti has used more defensive midfielders in the middle there for that formation. So we're really only dealing with about 5 games here, but that does include the 3 games in the Gold Cup where they use that 4-2-3-1. The candidates here actually begin at the seemingly off the squad level. So I'll say actually Duckins Nazon is probably the most likely candidate if they use it again. But the first candidate, Derek Etienne, played the position in the cup, but now has drifted off the team. I won't give detailed information on him because he's possible but unlikely. But Derek Etienne has not been selected for the last 7 matches. So he did start some at the beginning of the period in the Gold Cup too, but hasn't been called up recently. We also have a player seemingly off the squad in Jonel Desiree. Jonel Desiree last appeared for the team in October of 2023. So it doesn't seem like he'll be selected for the squad. So no really viable candidates for this position. So it would be out of position players playing it. Right, we move on to the forward line. We include secondary strikers with this, but they haven't used a 4-4-1-1 formation that has a secondary striker, and they don't have any players coded that way. So we move directly to forwards, and we've moved a bunch of players who are coded as forwards out. Lucius Don Dietzen and Duckens Nazen and a few others have been coded as forward. But we're actually left with the players who have been playing forward. Actually, that does include Duckens Nazen in the second half of the period, but we've introduced him. So we look first to our definite candidate, Franzi Piero, as a definite candidate. And we have another definite candidate in Danny Jean. Danny Jean, not much of a starter, honestly. We also have likely candidate Mondi Prunier and another likely candidate in Joseph Belmar. And then we have one of my favorite Haitian players, Ronaldo Damus, but he is just at the possible but unlikely level, so we'll deal with him here. I like him because of his performance in the 2021 Gold Cup, and I thought he would be more of a presence on Haiti than he is. But in fact, he was off the team after that. He did return after a 3-year absence, just for a couple of appearances, one as a sub and one on the bench. That was in the fall of 2024, but he wasn't selected for the last 3 matches. So we have him at the possible but unlikely level. I do hope he kind of comes back in, though. Let's look at the more likely candidates, though, beginning with Franzi Piero, and he's 30 years old. He has really impressive scoring record with Haiti. He has 30 goals and 35 caps, so almost a goal a game there. That's fantastic. Piero has been with Haiti since 2018 and is playing for AEK Athens in Greece since 2024, and he was with the club in Israel before that, and has played in France and Belgium as well. Piero, though, he was born in Haiti, even though he played for a university team, a couple of university teams in the USA. And Piero's first cup was the 2019 Gold Cup. He came in as a starter there. And however, in the 2021 Gold Cup, he was on the roster but saw no action, not even on the bench, actually, because he was down with COVID, and became a starter again in the 2023 Gold Cup. So Piero, in the recent period, started 8 of their 14 games since the 2023 Gold Cup. He was subbed in for 1, on the bench for 1, actually out with the same injury, it seems, a hamstring injury, for 3 games, 2 separate incidents there, and just 1 match that Piero was not selected for. So we are seeing him as a definite candidate. The other is Danny Jean. Danny Jean is 23 years old, and he has 14 caps and 1 goal for Haiti since 2022. He's currently playing for Tourinse in Portugal since 2025, and was with Strasbourg in France before that. But he is also Haitian-born. His youth clubs were in Haiti. And just on the preliminary squad for the 2023 Gold Cup, Danny Jean, that was a shock because we had him as a definite candidate there. But actually, he was off the team and returned after an 18-month absence in September 2024. But then did start 3 of their remaining 7 games, and he was subbed in for the 4 others. So ever since his return, he's been consistently called up under the new manager. So Danny Jean, a definite candidate. The first of 2 likely candidates is Mondi Prunier. Prunier is 26 years old with 16 caps and 6 goals since 2022. He plays for Charleroi in Belgium since 2024. Actually, currently on loan to a smaller club in Belgium there, and otherwise has played in France for most of his senior career. Although he was with two clubs in Haiti right at the beginning, he moved over in 2019 to France. Mondi Prunier was selected for the 2023 Gold Cup and just subbed briefly into two games there. Over the recent period, Prunier has started 4 of their 14 games, and he subbed in for 4 and was on the bench for 2. So just 4 of the 14 matches that he was not selected for. So not necessarily a starter, but we consider Prunier a likely candidate. The other likely candidate is a newcomer, Joseph Belmer. He's just 20 years old and got his first cap in 2024, but has 5 caps now for the national team. He was born in the United States and played for a university team, and has moved over to Switzerland to play for Sion since 2024. So Joseph Belmer for Haiti got his first cap in March 2024. He started 2 of their remaining 10 games, as well as subbing in for 3, and he was on the bench for 4. And there was just 1 match he wasn't selected for. That was the last match, and it was a friendly. So we don't think that means that much, and we have Belmar as a likely candidate here. Okay, that is not it, because I see that I forgot to introduce some candidates who are seemingly off the squad. So I'll just do them before we finish up here. The first one is Shani der Borgelin. We want to put these names on the list because they do sometimes come back into the squad. He was named to the preliminary squad for the last 2 Gold Cups, but he last appeared for the national team in September of 2023. So Shani der Borgelin seemingly off the squad. The other one is Roberto Luima, who was part of the team in the 2021 Gold Cup, but he did return for a game after a 2-year absence in September 2023, and he made 1 appearance on the bench and then 1 substitute appearance, but then wasn't called up after that. So Roberto Luima seemingly off the squad here. Okay, that is it for our look at the candidates in section 2, and we move on to section 3. And we welcome new listeners to section 3 here, because we're releasing it as a short version of part 1 on Haiti's players. So I'll just speak to those new listeners briefly. In the full version, we introduced the candidates and their likelihood of making the final squad. We gave some career information on the main candidates, and so those who are listening to the short version, if you want that full information, you can go back. We're providing a link to the full version in the show notes. I remember what I wanted to say. The other thing we did was justify why we put them at the level that we put them at. That was based mostly on recent participation. Okay, so if you have listened to that, then this is a review summary, but I'll point out to both groups of listeners that we're not concerning ourselves with predicting starters at this point. That'll be our focus in part 2. So let's go back over the list here and look at the candidates and their likelihood of making it. So we'll begin by introducing manager Sebastien Mignet. He took over in March of 2024, and we'll consider him a definite candidate. For goalkeepers, we have a definite candidate in Alexander Pierre, and 2 likely candidates, Johnny Placide and Garrison Innocent, and then 1 possible candidate, Valendi Odelas. And we won't go into players below that level, possible but unlikely or seemingly off the squad, unless there's a reason to, but in this case there isn't. So those are the candidates at goalkeeper level. for goalkeeper. And we move on to the defence and look at central defenders. We have a definite candidate in Ricardo Ade, and then two likely candidates, Jean-Kevin Duvernay and Francois Dulis, and a possible candidate in Garvin Metusala. And we will say off the squad, seemingly off the squad, is veteran Michak Jerome. At left back position, we have a definite candidate in Duke Lacroix and a likely candidate in Martin Experience. And that's it over there. And on the right side also, we have a definite candidate, Carlins Arcus. No likely candidates there, but two possible candidates, Stéphane Lambise and Wilkins Paugain. Over in the right back position. And we should say Haiti always uses a four-man back line, at least in the period we're looking at, two central defenders with a right back and a left back. On we go to defensive midfielders, and we put a couple of players in the versatile midfield category, but I'm seeing both of them are seemingly off the squad. We'll just mention one of them because he's a veteran kind of off the squad now, Wild Donald Gourier. So he's been a servant for Haiti for quite a while, but doesn't look like he'll make this tournament. On to defensive midfielders, where there are no definite candidates, but two likely candidates in Leverton Pierre and Carl Sainte, and a possible candidate in Brian Alceus. And for central midfielders, which kind of overlaps with the position of defensive midfielder quite a bit, we have two definite candidates. The first is Danley Jean-Jacques, and the second, Christopher Attis. Christopher Attis' name is in light grey for YouTube watchers because he has not participated in a tournament. Over on the left midfield, actually this is right midfielders, we only have one person to mention. That's Theo Michel, and he came in right at the end, so we're not really sure how likely he is. We put him at the possible level. That's it for right and left midfielders. We go to the attacking midfield, and we have a couple of players we put as versatile attackers. They're coded as forwards, but played in various positions. The first is definite candidate Duckens Nazon, and then we have likely candidate Mikel Cantave, who's not much of a starter, but we think likely to make the squad. Over on the left side of the field, left attackers, we have Papa Picot. We're going to talk about him in the next section because he may not make it to the squad. So they're going to have a problem, really, because he's the only one over here. They'll probably have to use out-of-position players there. In fact, he is out of position because he's coded as a right winger or a right attacker anyway. Over on the right side of the field, we have a player coded as a forward, but we put him here just like we moved Fafa Picot because this is where they've been playing over the period. So we have Lucius Don Deedson as a definite candidate over here, but he's the only one. We have one player seemingly off the squad, but otherwise it'll be out of position players or maybe our versatile attackers like Duckens Nazon. Central attackers, well, they only used it in 5 of their 16 games over the period. And again, it was the versatile Duckens Nazon in, I think, 2 of the 5 times when they used it. And then out of position players, we have no one at the definite, likely, or possible level here. So again, they'd be relying on out-of-position players. We actually had quite a few players coded as forwards that take up these positions. But now we move on to players who have actually been playing as forwards. The first one is Francis Pierrot. He's a definite candidate, Francis Pierrot. And Danny Jean came in at the end there and kind of quickly became firmly entrenched in the team. So those two definite candidates. We have two at the likely level too, Mondi Punier and Joseph Belmar. Both of those likely candidates. And that's it for our look at the for our review of the candidates. Let's go to injuries. Well, we actually don't have any injuries, so good news for Haiti on that front. But we do have one player that we want to talk about here, and that's Fafa Picault, because he plays for Inter Miami, and that's that team is involved in the Club World Cup. So we're pretty sure that that competition is going to take precedence over this one, and that he will be away playing with his club. So we're going to put him in the out of contention category. So a big loss for Haiti there, because he was a definite candidate. And that's all we have over here. So let's move on to closing thoughts. And we don't really actually have many for Haiti. There's no big problems with injuries. They are missing Fafa Picault, but otherwise they should be sending a strong squad. And as with many small teams, players will play out of position. So the positions here are a bit of just a bit of a structure for us here rather than a hard and fast rule. Okay, not great closing thoughts there. I'm going to move on to previewing part two. We're going to put out part two actually not too long from now. We're thinking early June, and we're doing this right at the end of May here. In part two, we will go through the list that we created here. And basically tell you who made it and who didn't. We won't go through all the biographies and stuff again, but what we will do is try to predict the starters, and to help us do that, we'll kind of look at the position and who has been in the position over the recent period since the last Gold Cup, and hopefully that'll help us. If we can, we'll also look at the not friendlies for Haiti, but the two warm-up games, which are actually World Cup qualifiers, and that may help us to decide who we think are going to be starters. Anyway, we will talk about any notable non-selections, any surprise inclusions. There's always a couple of players who we thought were off the squad but come back in. Always a couple of new players as well. And finally, we'll update on any injuries. Haiti doesn't have any yet, but maybe there will be some by that time, and if there is, we'll update you on them. Okay, that brings us to the end of part one of our look at Haiti players, and we hope that you will join us for part two, and that'll come out in a week or two. We would like to thank Future Bass for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. The title is called Alone.